This is an uncategorized video about Cthulhu Wars, modern wargaming, and recent U.S. military conflicts. On a recent visit to a local bookstore several weeks ago, I was doing my regular rounds, browsing the shelves in different sections, and I was in the wargaming section, or gaming section, and looking over the shelves, primarily looking for something new, something I hadn't seen before, and a book caught my eye that I had not seen before, and it was a book about Cthulhu Wars. On this particular day, for whatever reason, I was thinking more about fantasy warfare, fantasy combat, fantasy wargaming, more than anything else. So it was understandable that I pulled this book off the shelf, the Cthulhu Wars, and in browsing through this, flipping through this book, it appeared to be a kind of alternate military history. It seemed to weave together real military history with obviously this fantasy history of the U.S. military's ongoing battle against Cthulhu creatures or whatever. It was all very interesting. Seeing how the authors tightly laced together these different historical and obviously alternative historical strands. And it was especially interesting to me that this alternate history claimed to go all the way up into the global war on terrorism. So the book, the Cthulhu Wars, had a subtitle, "The United States Battles Against the Mythos." I'm no big Cthulhu fan, but it was entertaining enough. I was finding this alternate history entertaining enough. And I got up to the chapter on global war on terrorism, and I flipped the page and found a picture that looked strangely familiar. So I'm looking at this picture, and I'm thinking it looks strangely familiar. First I thought, well, maybe it was the background. No. I looked closer, and I looked closer, and I looked closer, and I could actually get enough letters off of the name tapes of these two to know who they were. Now, in this picture, I've blurred out the name tapes because I think that I'm not going to be broadcasting their identities, okay? But it was utterly incredible for me to have the playful, fanciful world of wargaming crash headlong into not only real military history, but my military history. This is actually a picture of my battalion commander and my battalion command sergeant major in Afghanistan during our deployment several years ago. And it was, okay, so my reaction was mixed. My reaction was very mixed, and it was a strange mixture of responses. And I will say that in that mixture of responses was a bit of anger. Now I'm the first one to say up front that this anger is irrational. Okay, it is not rational. There's no rational explanation for it. I'm not even going to pretend that. But it's real nonetheless. It is, again, in a strange, irrational way, this is my war, my military history, and everything involved with that. And here is, again, something as unimportant, frankly, and whimsical as Cthulhu Wars, intruding into the real world of life and death. And it's weird. It's strange. And it's not like this is ancient history. This isn't like this is 15th century. This is real, very real. Real in a way that I'm sure the individuals behind this book can't possibly imagine. And I know that, having the first-hand connection, I guess you could say. I mean, this is a real-world operation of a real-world U.S. Army Infantry Battalion in a struggle against insurgents, again, that the world of Cthulhu Wargaming can't possibly grasp. Not effectively, anyways. So I related this story, did not know what on earth I was going to say about it. It was strange, it was jarring, it felt unreal to be standing in this bookstore in a nice little American suburbia, and again have, holding a book about Cthulhu Wars and be staring down at not only a picture I recognize, but staring down. This picture is in no small way, a mirror or a window back into, again, an operation, a campaign, and again, the life and death struggle. This is a window back into soldiers, many soldiers on this ground, represented in the background here. Soldiers lost their lives, maimed, scarred for life, etc. Symbolized by, the battalion commander and the battalion command sergeant major on this ground, in this part of Afghanistan at this time. And it's just, again, weird. I never would have expected it. I was just, what do you say? What do you say? It's just unbelievable in a way, unbelievable in a way. And again, it's irrational. My reaction is irrational. I don't want this. I didn't want to see this. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say anything differently. I did not want to see this. I don't like this. I don't want to see this. I don't want this published. But again, I know that that's not, that's not the end of the story. I know that, and again, it's just plain not rational, but it's real nonetheless. Now, the background and the context for my reaction is not so much this book. The context is actually more than several discussions that I have followed online. Wargamers talking about, the recent conflicts, primarily Iraq and Afghanistan, but there are others. And the discussions are something, and I don't plan to say much more about this, so I'm going to actually try to move quickly through this. Discussions along the line of why aren't these recent military actions, campaigns, wars covered more in wargaming? And there are different ideas put forth, okay? Different ideas. And I actually, some of these ideas strike a nerve, strike a chord with me. And the one that stands out above all others is the comment, well, there haven't been any serious engagements other than Fallujah. Like I said, I'm not going to say a lot about this. What I will say is that what the public knows about these conflicts is shaped to a significant degree by the media and the military, the Department of Defense's interaction with the media. Many fights, many serious, many significant, many incredibly nasty, what's the word, brutal fights are the reality, are the real history of these conflicts. And it's not the history that has come out very prominently. I'll just say that. Now, wargaming, this just fuels my ideas about developing a good, solid, respectful, accurate simulation war game that can cover these military operations and that show the fighting for what it was. And I imagine that it should be eye-opening, I guess, for some. I guess I don't have much to say, but this is a picture of my battalion commander and my battalion command sergeant major during our deployment, 10th Mountain Division, in Afghanistan, central Afghanistan, and this is symbolic of all those operations, and I was deeply involved in planning most of them. The operations for that campaign, and this represents all of the ambushes, casualties, long drawn out firefights, brutal fighting. And it's tucked away in a book about the Cthulhu Wars.